and harmless as doves. Matthew 10:16. Your Creator does not want you to stop giving. He wants you to give with wisdom. Your love is precious. It must be protected. The enemy works in whispers and masks, but heaven speaks in clarity and purpose. And now, heaven says, your sight is being sharpened, your heart is being strengthened, and your spirit is being awakened. Now, as you step forward into this divine role, I invite you to declare your readiness. Type Amen in the comments below as a bold act of agreement, a signal to heaven that you are awake, aware, and willing to walk in discernment. And stay with me until the very end, because together we'll close with a powerful prayer of protection and clarity. Let this be the day your spirit rises into divine awareness. You were never foolish. You were chosen. Heaven is still speaking, and when heaven speaks, it never repeats without purpose. What may sound like echoes are, in truth, truths unfolding in divine time, revealing more as your heart becomes ready to receive. Now, as the light of discernment begins to pierce through the fog of hurt, the angel continues with a message not of blame, but of awakening. What once felt like love freely given has now shown its cost. The woman in question, the one heaven gently reveals, has for too long treated your generosity not as a gift, but as something owed. Her actions were not a cry for help, but a quiet belief that your heart would never resist her pull. She came with requests dressed as needs, but behind each plea was a belief that your compassion was limitless and your boundaries non-existent. Her smile was a currency, her words transactions, her loyalty conditional, and still you gave. Not because you were blind, but because you believed. Because that's what those chosen by heaven often do. They choose to see the good. They hope in people as an act of faith, as a reflection of the divine's own mercy. But now, the Most High is no longer asking you to give from blind hope. Heaven is now teaching you to give from wisdom born of experience. This wisdom is not cynical, it is sacred, and it is earned. The angel says, this moment of separation is not punishment, it is preservation. Just as the shepherd leaves the 99 to rescue the one, the shepherd also builds gates to protect the flock. And now, you are called to build gates, not walls, boundaries that are holy, not hostile. This woman's misuse of your grace did not go unnoticed in the heavenly courts. Every careless word she spoke behind your back was heard in places where justice is always active, even when silent on earth. Consider the story of Joseph, not the betrayal, but the aftermath. His own brothers sold him out of jealousy, mocking his dreams, wounding his youth. But when Joseph rose to power in Egypt, he did not use it for revenge. He used it to establish boundaries with compassion. He wept, yes, but he also tested their hearts. He did not let them close until they were changed. That is divine wisdom in action, loving without losing discernment. You are not cutting someone off in bitterness. You are stepping back in peace, and the peace you preserve now will become your protection later. The Most High now instructs, cease pouring into what has shown no intention to hold what you give with care. This is not abandonment. This is alignment. Every act of help given to one who mocks the source of that help drains not just energy, but spiritual clarity. For what you give is not just physical, it is sacred. Your time, your counsel, your prayer, they are offerings, and offerings must not be laid at the feet of dishonor. In Ecclesiastes 3, it is written, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven." Now is the time to withdraw, to pause, to let this woman carry the full weight of her own choices, not because she is unworthy of grace, but because she has used grace as a crutch instead of a catalyst for growth. The sadness you feel is not weakness. It is evidence of your capacity to love deeply. And yet, the angel reminds you, pain is not a command to return. It is simply the release of illusion. You were never meant to carry her whole life on your shoulders. Your role was to reflect how real love operates in truth, and now that truth requires distance. There is no need to worry about her words traveling further, for every whisper against your name will become a testimony of contrast. Those who once believed her will slowly see what you always knew. Her behavior was never shaped by gratitude, only opportunity. And the opportunity to misuse your heart has now closed. Forgive her, not for her sake, but for yours. Forgiveness cleanses the path. It does not require reunion. The Most High Himself forgives, yet disciplines. Mercy and justice walk hand in heaven. So too they must walk in your decisions. In Isaiah 54:17, it is promised, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn." This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. You need not raise your voice. The condemnation is already written in peace, in protection, in separation. You will feel lighter soon. Your rest will deepen. Your joy will no longer sit in the hands of someone who never valued it. For as you stop watering what refuses to grow, heaven will redirect your love to where it will take root. And there, your giving will become not a burden, but a blessing in both directions. In time, new souls will arrive, people sent not to drain, but to pour. People who will recognize the weight of your love and meet it with balance. And when they come, you will know. Because heaven never removes without preparing to restore, and the restoration always exceeds the loss. So now, as your heart processes the release, let it also receive the promise. This was not the end of your compassion, it was the beginning of your discernment. The light in you remains unchanged. But now, it shines through a lens shaped by truth. The angel says, "You have not failed, you have graduated." Fro, 1M blind giving to guided love, from endless sacrifice to sacred stewardship. And the Most High smiles not because you are walking away, but because you are walking wisely. Let the message continue not only as comfort, but now as counsel. For revelation without response bears no fruit, and clarity without action fades like light in fog. What has been spoken was never meant to simply be heard. It was meant to become a way of life. Heaven does not only open eyes, it realigns footsteps. And now, the Most High invites you to walk differently with discernment in every step and peace as your compass. This is more than a call to awareness. It is an invitation to sacred living, a way of being that protects what is holy within you, not with fear, but with wisdom. The angel says, "Pause not to retreat, but to reset." Let the noise of obligation fall away for a moment and listen to the quiet instructions heaven places into your spirit. These are not rules. These are tools meant to help you rise day by day into the person you were created to be, strong in spirit, clear in heart, and anchored in peace. Begin with this: quiet boundaries. There is no need for declarations or confrontation. You do not have to explain the sacred decisions you make to protect your energy. The Son of God Himself often withdrew from the crowds without warning, choosing silence over explanation. In Luke 5:16, it is written, "But Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. Let your withdrawal be your prayer. Let your silence become your shield." Not everyone deserves a reply. Not every message needs a response. You are not cold, you are careful, and that care is holy. Next, review your circle, not with judgment, but with honesty. Pay attention to how you feel after each interaction, not just what was said, but what lingered. Some people leave footprints of peace, others leave confusion, doubt, and weight. Your body knows before your mind accepts. The spirit within you whispers through those shifts. Listen, you are not called to walk closely with those who dishonor your presence. Then, turn inward. Protect your energy at home. The place where you rest must not be a battlefield. Let the light in. Open windows, not just for air, but for renewal. Speak words that cleanse. In the early morning stillness, declare, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Joshua 24-15. Lay your hands on the doorposts. Walk through your rooms with prayer. You are not performing rituals, you are re-establishing divine order. Remove what carries the scent of old pain, photos, objects, or messages soaked in regret. Your home is not a storage room for sorrow. It is a sanctuary. Treat it as such. Next, practice giving with discernment. Before extending help, pause. Ask within, "Lord, is this burden mine to carry?" If confusion rises or your spirit tightens, heed that check. The Holy Spirit does not speak in chaos. Some weights are distractions dressed as duty. Even the Good Samaritan did not pick up every traveler he helped. The one heaven placed directly before him. Know the difference. Then look outward. Honor those who pour into you. Gratitude is not only received, it must be returned. Who has spoken life into you? Who has offered presence without condition? Bless those souls. Reciprocity is not a luxury, it is a sign of spiritual health. In Proverbs 27-17, it is said, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." Let your energy feed what feeds you. The garden of your life must be watered with balance. Build the habit of truth. Keep a journal of spiritual reflection. Each night, return to the quiet pages and record the invisible. Where did your peace go? When did God intervene silently on your behalf? Who showed you honor and who didn't? This is how discernment grows, not through guesswork, but through reflection. David journaled his revelations in Psalms. You are simply continuing that sacred tradition. Finally, forgive daily, but trust slowly. Forgiveness is not permission for re-entry, it is release. The soul is not meant to carry bitterness, it corrodes joy and clouds vision. But trust must be earned. Even Jesus, after rising from the grave, did not show himself to all, only to those whose hearts were ready. Forgive fully, but allow distance to remain until fruit appears. Remember this, your heart is not common ground, it is holy ground. Not everyone should walk upon it freely. The Most High made you tender, yes, but not exposed. Compassion and caution must walk hand in hand. As you begin living with sacred intention, do not be surprised when things shift, when people fall away without explanation, when certain doors close quietly. That is not rejection, it is redirection. Heaven removes what weakens your light, not to punish, but to protect. You are not losing people, you are losing burdens that once disguised themselves as relationships. This is how elevation begins, not with loud breakthroughs, but with quiet obedience. Not with dramatic miracles, but with daily decisions aligned with heaven's rhythm. And through it all, the Most High is watching not as a distant judge, but as a loving Father, a wise architect, a tender shepherd, guiding, shielding, shaping, so that you may rise not hardened, but whole. Let this be your new rhythm: awareness without fear, peace without apology, kindness with discernment, and love without self-loss. This is sacred maturity. This is spiritual growth. This is the path of the chosen. For what you've walked through was never wasted. It was a classroom built by heaven itself. Each heartbreak, each moment of confusion, every time your kindness was returned with cruelty, it was all part of a greater shaping. You are being formed, not into someone colder, but into someone clearer. This is the refinement of love. The angel whispers, "You will look back on this season and see that it was necessary." There are lessons the soul can only learn in silence, and truths that only pain can reveal gently. Sometimes, love must be taught not only how to give, but when to stop. That kind of wisdom does not come from books. It comes from bruised trust, long nights of prayer, and the quiet resolve to no longer pour into vessels that were never meant to hold you. Heaven teaches through experience, not punishment. Your painful moments were never meant to shame you, but to sculpt discernment into your soul, so that kindness would no longer lead you into exhaustion, but into wisdom. The woman who betrayed your trust did more than hurt you. She held up a mirror, not to show your weakness, but to show the absence of boundaries. Without wisdom, trust can become self-sabotage. Without discernment, generosity becomes a weight that crushes the one who carries it alone. But now, that mirror has done its work. You see clearly. You no longer confuse love with obligation. You now understand what heaven has always known. Love, guided by wisdom, becomes a force no one can exploit. And you will not become bitter. That is not your path. Your gentle spirit will not harden. Instead, it will sharpen. It will glow with spiritual precision, knowing exactly who deserves to walk beside you and who must be released to walk their own path. You will feel the weight lift. Confusion will give way to clarity. Guilt will be replaced with quiet strength. And your peace will become your new rhythm. The Most High is not only proud of you, He celebrates you. For this is what spiritual maturity looks like: loving without losing yourself, helping without being drained, giving without being used. You are now learning what it means to care for your spirit as something sacred, not disposable. And in doing so, you are stepping into a new authority over your life. From this point forward, your journey becomes lighter. Not because life is suddenly easy, but because you're no longer dragging people who never planned to walk with you in truth. The ones who mocked your softness will witness the power heaven always placed within you. The same mouths that whispered your name with mockery will fall silent as heaven begins to elevate you, not in arrogance, but in quiet honor. The Most High is preparing to place you in rooms where your heart is valued, not drained. Doors will open where your peace is protected. Opportunities will find you, not because you forced them, but because heaven has now made you ready to walk through them with strength. The time for pleading has passed. You will not explain your boundaries. You will not justify your distance. You will not defend your decisions to people who never saw your worth. Your silence will speak louder than their doubt ever could. And in that silence, heaven will speak on your behalf. It is written in Psalm 37:6, "He will make your righteousness shine like the dawn, the justice of your cause like the noonday sun." Every false word spoken against you will dissolve under the weight of truth. Every act of goodness will return to you in greater measure, not because you demanded it, but because God is just. Now is not the time to respond to drama. It is the time to embrace gratitude as your shield. When you choose thanksgiving instead of explanation, heaven moves swiftly. Gratitude unlocks acceleration. Where others waste energy defending themselves, you will soar forward in peace. Let this be the beginning of your new chapter, a chapter where love is mutual, not one-sided, where relationships are marked by honesty, not hidden resentment, where giving flows in both directions, not just yours. Your life will become a garden, not one where others come to take, but where they come to plant, water, and grow alongside you. You are not the same person who once felt guilty for saying no. You are not the same soul who confused being needed with being valued. You are becoming what heaven always knew you could be: wise, joyful, protected, and deeply aligned with the heart of God. And so, the message concludes not with sorrow, but with strength, for you are rising not through noise, not through vengeance, but through stillness, clarity, and the quiet power of holy boundaries. And as heaven removes what was never meant to stay, the space you create will not be empty. It will be filled with divine peace, authentic love, and the kind of joy that no one can take from you again. And now, the message moves into sacred depth. Heaven does not just reveal truth to shock the heart, it reveals to liberate it. When the soul has given all it could, when love has been poured even into hands that return it with harm, heaven speaks not to shame the giver, but to heal them. The Most High has seen every unspoken ache within you. Nothing has been missed, not the quiet sighs, not the silent forgiveness you offered even when you were never asked to. The angel declares, heaven has watched you give fully even when others returned gossip instead of gratitude, and still you forgave. That is not weakness, that is divine resilience. That is the spirit of one created in the image of the Most High. But now a shift must come. For even sacred love must learn the wisdom of limits. To give endlessly without discernment is not holy. It is harmful to the vessel that pours. You were never called to empty yourself for those who only receive and never honor. You are not a source of infinite energy for those who treat your kindness like a convenience. You were created to pour into souls that thirst for truth, not into vessels that leak peace through holes carved by deceit, entitlement, and mockery. There is one among your own flesh and blood who mistook your gentleness for foolishness. Her lips smiled, but her heart whispered cruelty. She laughed with others, spoke your name without reverence, and built stories rooted in jealousy rather than truth. She did not understand the sacredness of your help. She did not see your giving as grace. She saw it as a tool to manipulate. But heaven hears what is said behind closed doors. The whispers spoken in private do not escape divine attention, as it is written in Luke 12:3. What you have said in the dark will be heard in the daylight, and what you have whispered in the ear in the inner rooms will be proclaimed from the rooftops. Her hidden conversations were never hidden from God. These words hurt, yes, but they carry a deeper purpose. The angel says, this pain will heal you, for truth cuts like a sword, not to destroy, but to sever the lie from your spirit. Freedom often begins in grief, the grief of realizing that love was not returned, that loyalty was not mutual, and that not even family is immune to deception when envy takes root. Still, this is not a call to bitterness. It is a call to boundaries born of wisdom. The Most High does not expose for revenge, He exposes to preserve. When heaven reveals betrayal, it is a mercy, not a punishment. You are being protected, not punished. Your heart is being lifted out of the shadows where it has silently bled. Every tear you shed has been noticed, not one fell in vain. In the courts of heaven, they have been gathered not as symbols of sorrow, but as pearls of wisdom. These sacred tears now rest in your soul as a quiet strength that cannot be shaken. You are no longer vulnerable, you are now awake. You once believed blood could never betray, but the angel reveals, even family can bruise, especially when jealousy finds a home behind eyes that pretend to care. Her envy festered not because of your actions, but because your light reminded her of the dreams she abandoned. Where she chose pride, you chose faith. Where she settled for bitterness, you kept believing in love. And your light, instead of inspiring her, provoked her. She called you naive, warned others under the disguise of concern, but those were not warnings, they were seeds of resentment, words sown in secret, hoping they would bear fruit that would destroy your character. But heaven has stopped the harvest. Those seeds will not bloom against you, for there is now a divine fence being built around your name, your energy, your peace, and this fence is invisible to man, but impenetrable to malice. You are no longer vulnerable to her words. You do not need to defend yourself with argument or confrontation. Silence is now your testimony, and peace is your sword, one that cuts deeper than any slander ever could. Do not answer her. Do not match her tone. The time for explanations is over. You will not need to speak on your behalf. Heaven has already begun doing so. As it is written in Exodus 14:14, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Those who believed her stories will begin to see, not because you proved yourself, but because your light was consistent. Kindness is the most difficult lie to sustain. In time, the truth will rise, not with drama, but with dignity. Her words will dissolve, her masks will fall, and those who once doubted you will remember your steady grace. Your reputation is not in the hands of people. It rests in the hands of the divine. The Most High has known your story from the very beginning, and He writes your defense in a language no rumor can erase. His justice moves quietly, but completely. His timing never misses. So now, walk forward, not in fear, not in sorrow, but in peace. In this stillness, your silence will speak louder than any argument, and your gentleness, protected by truth, will become the doorway to restoration. This is the season of sacred vindication, a season where your name is cleared without a word, where blessings find you quietly, where new peace replaces old chaos, and where your spirit rises, not out of revenge, but from the deep and holy knowing that heaven has always been on your side. You do not need to say another word. Heaven has already spoken. And now, as the dust of deception settles and the noise of false opinions fades, heaven invites you to pause, not to retreat, but to reflect. You are not merely walking away from broken ties. You are walking deeper into the restoration of your soul. What happened to you was not the end of something. It was the unveiling of something sacred that had long been hidden beneath the weight of pleasing others, fixing what was never yours to repair, and carrying the storms of those who never carried you in return. The angel now reveals what this moment truly is, not a fracture, but a return, a divine homecoming to your original self. The one formed in truth before any betrayal, before any manipulation disguised as love. The one knit together by the Creator in secret, as Psalm 139:15 says, "My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place." You have not lost yourself. You are recovering what was covered. And betrayal, though it wounded, did not destroy you. It cleared the space around your soul so you could finally breathe again. You once thought your ability to endure was your strength, but heaven is now showing you a deeper truth. Your strength is not just in enduring, but in knowing when to release. This is not just about setting boundaries. It is about remembering who you are beneath the exhaustion, beneath the role of peacemaker, fixer, emotional anchor. You were never created to be the glue that holds other people's brokenness together. You were created to shine, to speak truth, to love wisely, and to rest in the assurance that your worth does not depend on who accepts you, but on who formed you. You are not broken. You are becoming, slowly, deeply, and forever. A quiet strength is forming in the silence you used to fill with explanations. You no longer need to plead your intentions or seek validation in people who were never equipped to hold the beauty of your heart. Your worth is not a negotiation, it is a declaration from heaven itself. And though it aches to realize someone you trusted misused that trust, heaven asks you to look deeper. The betrayal did not expose your weakness, it exposed the other person's inability to value the sacred, the rare, the real. And yes, you are rare. Rare in compassion, rare in loyalty, rare in depth, rare in love. But purity, when not protected by wisdom, becomes a magnet for misuse. That season is over now, for the wisdom rising within you has reshaped your giving. No longer reactive, no longer desperate to prove, no longer pouring into what only empties you. You are beginning to understand the holy art of release, not because you are bitter, but because you are better. Not because you no longer love, but because you finally love yourself enough to let go of what poisons your peace. Heaven is not asking you to harden your heart. Heaven is softening it in the right direction, toward truth, toward clarity, toward God. In this healing, heaven is reordering your soul. You will notice your inner world changing first, your thoughts growing quieter, your breath returning easier. Your days no longer ruled by someone else's approval. This is not pride, it is freedom. For as it says in 2 Corinthians 3:17, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. That liberty is yours now. Your joy will no longer rise and fall with who stays or who goes. Your peace will no longer depend on whether others understand you. And your identity will no longer be defined by how much you give, but by how deeply you are rooted in the one who never left, never lied, never manipulated your love for his benefit. This is the sacred recentering. You are not just releasing people, you are reclaiming yourself. You are anchoring your value not in fleeting relationships, but in the eternal one whose love needs no proof. You are no longer asking broken people to bless what God already called good. You are no longer begging for closure from those who thrived in your confusion, because you have something better now, clarity. Clarity that silences the need to chase. Clarity that frees you from explaining love to those who only wanted control. Clarity that reminds you that love can continue stronger, purer, even after you've walked away. This is the shift. You are not becoming colder. You are becoming holier. You are not withdrawing from love. You are returning to real love. A love that flows from wisdom. A love that knows boundaries. A love that protects without apology. Your silence now is not weakness. It is strength wrapped in peace. Your distance is not rejection. It is restoration. Your forgiveness is not forgetting, it is freedom. Your discernment is not suspicion, it is divine awareness. The same light they once mocked is now rising without resistance, preparing to carry your calling into spaces where it can no longer be buried under guilt or misunderstood by envy. What once felt like loss will soon be known as liberation. So walk now, not in anger, not in fear, but with reverence for what you are becoming. Heaven has seen the hidden work. Heaven has recorded every moment you chose peace when you had the right to rage. And heaven is responding, not with spectacle, but with transformation. This is not just the end of a painful chapter. This is the unveiling of your truest self. You are not stepping away from someone. You are stepping fully into who you were always meant to be. Heaven now shifts your attention to something many